Mike here from Real Lounge Entertainment, and I'm back with another video for you. And today, we're going to rank all the MCU Universe movies. Yes, all 35 movies, but Mike, aren't there 36? Yeah, well, I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, so for right now, we're just going to leave that one off the list. Now everybody, the MCU has been around for a long time at this point, and the characters even longer. We all have our favorite characters, we all have our favorite movies, and no one's list is going to be identical. So just going into this, just relax a little bit and have some fun. Just remember, this is my list, my opinions. It's okay that it's different from yours. Our list shouldn't be the same. So there's no point in getting really mad about it or anything. I'm just going to list off how I feel about these movies. Remember, we're all here because we like these movies, we're all entertained by them, so let's just talk about them together instead of getting angry about it. I also want to say, most of us agree there's a few that are really, really great and they're always on everyone's top 5 or 10. And there's a few that are always on everyone's bottom 5. Other than that, there's a huge section of middle movies that are all good, but they're very hard to place. Ask me today, this is the list you get. Ask me tomorrow, it'll be completely different. I would never be able to recreate this off the top of my head ever again. It'll be different because some movies I haven't seen in years, some I just saw, some I don't remember properly, and some just age differently. Some get better, some get worse. So it's okay that everyone's list is a little bit different. I'd also appreciate it if you would give us a subscribe, give this video a like, and let us know in the comments what are your top 5 favorite MCU movies and what are your bottom 5 MCU movies. So in compiling this list and trying to rank them for myself and put them in a proper order, which, like I already said, would be different every single day, there's a few things I took into consideration. The quality of the production. Is it directed well? Is it written well? Is the acting good? Another major factor is it entertaining? Is there rewatchability, or is it you watch it once and that's basically all you can watch it? It just isn't that great. The actors they chose for these productions and the chemistry they have with their co-stars. That's very important to these because they all mesh in together in the Avenger movies. Another thing is, how important are they to the MCU, to Marvel, to Hollywood? When they were made, some of them came out early and have more importance than the other ones. And last but not least, of course I have my own bias. Some of these characters I grew up with and love more than some other people. So when they're in a movie, of course I'm going to like it a little bit different than you. Some of these characters I wasn't as familiar with, and they don't mean as much to me, so when they're in a movie, maybe I grade that movie a little less. Everyone's guilty of it, so everyone just have your choices, have your list, let's talk about it. And last but not least, spoiler warning. I'm just going to give little descriptions of why I placed movies where they are, but some spoilers might pop out, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, maybe check out someone else's list. So sit back and let's rank the MCU. Coming in at number 35 and the bottom of this list is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This movie is just a hot mess. The story's too all over the place, and I just really couldn't get into it. Besides a quick laugh from the MODOK character a couple times, I just couldn't get into this at all, and it's the bottom movie for me. Coming in at number 34, but sometimes appearing on the bottom of my list, is Thor: Love and Thunder. This movie, as good as Thor Ragnarok was, this movie was just as bad. It went for the same kind of chemistry, and it just misses completely, and I despise this movie, actually. And the fact that you brought Jane back, played by Natalie Portman, who left on bad terms. That just left a sour taste in my mouth, and I really just didn't care to see her back in this franchise. Coming in at number 33, and the original bottom of this list, is Iron Man 3. This movie I just found pretty boring. Had a lackluster villain. They even teased us with Mandarin, but they kind of just bait and switched us on this, and I've never forgiven them for that. Coming in at number 32 is The Marvels. Take 3 characters that aren't very interesting, that no one really likes, put them in an overly complicated story, and see what happens. Oh, you get the Marvels. That's what happens. I had low expectations for this movie, and they still couldn't match those expectations. I probably won't ever rewatch this movie because I just don't even remember anything interesting happening in this movie. It was a confusing mess, and I just don't need to waste my time. Now, those are the only 4 movies that I would actually call bad in the MCU. The rest of these are watchable. Maybe not always the best, maybe some are definitely weaker than the others, but from this point on, none of these I would say actually are bad. Coming in at number 31 is Captain Marvel. Now, This movie isn't as bad as some people say, but overall, it's pretty boring. It has moments that make it watchable, but Brie Larson I don't think has enough charisma to carry a solo movie by herself. Tying another lackluster villain, and it's just pretty boring with not too much to really write home about. She's also said some stuff like outside of the movies that kind of irritated me, and yeah, I'm gonna hold that against her. Plus, Disney played games with the box office for this, saying they were selling out here and there, but there's some very fishy things going on with those numbers, so I don't like when studios do that. Coming in at number 30, and sometimes for you people, it's the bottom of your list, is Eternals. Now, I'm a comic book person, but going into this, I didn't really know too much about Eternals because I never really read them. And I was just kind of surprised about what this movie was about. This movie is actually pretty interesting and it's a pretty solid cast. The issue is, it doesn't really blend with the rest of the MCU movies, and for that reason, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. It doesn't connect in any way, and this movie was never going to box $1 billion, so in my opinion, it probably just never should have been made, even though I don't think it's the worst. Coming in at number 29, I believe is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, I haven't watched this movie since it first came out. I'm telling you right now, I don't think I remember one thing about this movie. Not one scene, not one quote, nothing. I remember specifically being like, it's kind of boring and not great, but I also don't remember thinking it was freaking terrible. So I'm just going to put it here because I really don't know anything else to say about it. Coming in at 28, and it's the last movie I watched before I made this list, is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This movie has very good production value, but it also came at a bad time after the passing of Chadwick Boseman. So it was in a tough spot from the get go. This movie is too long, and it takes too long for us to finally get the Black Panther appearing in it. And the Black Panther who replaces Chadwick is his sister Shuri. I found this character very annoying the first one. She's much better in this one, but I still can't forgive how annoying she was in the first one. Throwing two new characters in the MCU in this movie that I just didn't care about, that being Ironheart and Namor, and I just couldn't get in this movie. Everything with Namor and his people, I just found boring and I just didn't accept at all. And then Angela Bassett was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and she didn't win. And just, you could tell on her face, and I just don't like when actors and actresses kind of throw a fit when they don't win. Now we're at a point where I like the movies even more from this level on. These are definitely getting better from this point on and are pretty good. So coming in at 27 is Shang-Chi. Now, this movie had a solid story, solid actors, pretty weak villain who knows that he's not going to be able to succeed at the end, and doing it will be very bad and open up the gates and everything, but he still does it anyways. So it doesn't really make sense to me. This movie is just very solid, very good. If you haven't seen this one, give it a chance. Now coming in at 26 is a movie I know lots of people don't like, and that's Thor: Dark World. I like this movie just a little bit more than most people. I understand why people don't like it, but I got into it a little bit. I like that in this movie we got some good story arc going with Loki. We have a villain that doesn't really stick out great, but in the movie he does seem like a real credible threat, and that is enough for me. So if you haven't seen this movie in a while, give this one a rewatch. Now coming in at number 25, I put Black Widow. This is actually a pretty solid movie that just had the unfortunate of coming at a really bad time, that being the pandemic. Now, this movie does feel a little bit smaller than we were used to at the time for the other MCU movies, but it's really good to see Natasha get top billing and a backstory so we can really figure out more of what's going on with her. The issue is, this movie came out a little too late. It should have came out maybe 5 years earlier. She really deserved her own movie at the time. Coming in at number 24 is Spider-Man: Far From Home. This is my least favorite out of the Spider-Man in the MCU, but it's still a very solid movie. I think they could have done Mysterio a little bit better, him being one of my favorites in the Spider-Man comic books actually. This movie just a little bit boring, a little bit forgettable, and pretty risky unmasking Spider-Man at the end of the movie, but we see why that worked out. So, solid movie. Now coming in at 23 is Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I'm just not a Deadpool guy. Never really liked the characters. The movies do pay tribute to the character in a pretty good way. I just don't like Deadpool. But adding Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, adding a whole bunch of cameos, and you do get entertainment here. The only issue is, after rewatching, the cameos go down and down and makes this movie less entertaining. Take that out of the movie, this movie gets weaker and weaker. The story is pretty thin after that, and you just have to have a lot of just Deadpool love to enjoy this movie after that. Now, Blade alone is worth watching this movie. I've missed Blade so much, and I cannot wait to get him back in this universe. But I can also predict that in the future, this movie will probably go down farther on my list. Coming in at number 22 is Captain America Brave New World. Now, me and Tyler just did a pod covering this movie, so check that out if you want more information. Other than that, the only thing I can say is Sam Wilson was a good Captain America, script was a little weak, and he deserved better, but still a decent movie. At 21, I have Guardians of the Galaxy 3. The acting's still there, the entertainment's still there, the humor's still there, the chemistry is still there, but this being billed as the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I felt like the villain was a little bit small, a little bit weak. Didn't feel like too much of a threat to me. And at the end of the movie, someone probably should have died. Yes, it would have been sad, but they kind of teased it throughout all the trailers and the movie, and getting through without one loss has made it feel a little bit weak of a story. Coming in at number 20 is Iron Man 2. I think this movie is a very solid sequel to an impossible task of trying to match up to the first great movie. Now, Mickey Rourke I thought was great as Whiplash. The character was interesting and entertaining. We also got Sam Rockwell playing Justin Hammer, an interesting character, and I wish we would have got a little bit more depth with that character. I wish he maybe came back for another sequel. At number 19, we have Ant-Man. Now, this is Marvel taking a character that should not work at all in a movie form, and guess what? They made it work. Great cast, very entertaining and funny, just a fun overall movie, and way better than it deserved to be. Coming in at number 18 is Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this was a really fun movie and very entertaining. Seeing all three Spider-Mans come back was just so much fun. We also got to see a whole bunch of villains, and that's great too. Seeing this great cast come back, especially William Dafoe as the Green Goblin, and also getting that scene for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, the redemption scene, you all know what I'm talking about, was great. Way better than his two movies. On the other hand, every time you rewatch this movie, it gets a little bit weaker. Parts of the story don't really make sense. Stuff gets contradicted by their own movie, and it just isn't actually as great of a script as it is. It's just entertaining, and that's okay. Still a fun movie. Coming in number 17 is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, I'm a little biased because I really like Doctor Strange, but it was nice seeing Marvel try to basically make a horror Marvel movie. It was different than everything else, and I respect it for trying something, and it's definitely a good rewatch. So Marvel, maybe take a little bit more chances with different genres of your movies. Coming in at number 16 is Thor. This is one of the earlier Marvel movies released. This movie, we follow Thor, and we really get to see what makes him a hero as he himself learns, just being a brat, and what is a hero. This movie feels really big when they're in Asgard, but also feels really small when in the town that clearly looks like a movie set. This movie is entertaining and made pretty well, and is worthy of the 16th spot. Now, the only issue I really have with this movie is, look at his eyebrows. Don't bleach him again. Coming in at number 15 is Avengers Age of Ultron. This is the first Avenger movie that's made the list. It's still really, really good. It just happens to be the weakest of these movies. I do think Ultron was a pretty good villain for a secondary movie where we didn't have to make the whole world ending kind of scenario. We also get introduced to Wanda, Vision, and Quicksilver, even though he doesn't really last too long. This is a fun, good movie, and I really liked seeing the heroes get together again more than they were able to do in the first movie, and even have some downtime together. Coming in at number 14, and I know lots of people are going to disagree with this one, is The Incredible Hulk. I know I have this movie way higher than most of you, but I really like this movie. Incredible Hulk is one of my favorite characters from when I was a kid. I love the TV show. I watched it at my grandparents' house, my house, everywhere I could get it. I probably watched every episode a million times. So I'm a little biased towards it. This is the second movie in the MCU, and it was very important at the time. And being such a big fan of the TV show, this movie feels like the TV show more than like some big Disney production, and I really like that. This movie has a great script, my favorite Bruce Banner, and a great supporting cast around him. A weakness for this movie is, yes, the Hulk doesn't look the best here. He kind of looks like a video game, so I will down some points from that. We also just get another big monster fight at the end, but it's okay. I was happy with it. Give this movie another try. I promise you, it's worth it. Coming in at number 13 is Captain America Civil War, or basically Avengers 3, because it feels more like an Avenger movie than a Captain America movie. But it's okay. This movie is very well made. We also have a couple new characters joining the cast here, and that's Spider-Man making his MCU debut and Black Panther. We basically have all the other characters come back too and face off on two different sides, Captain America's side and Iron Man's side. Now, it's sad seeing these characters face off, but they make a good reason in the movie why they would face off against each other. Lots of action, good amount of drama, very entertaining movie. Now this is when I know I'm going to lose a lot of you on this countdown, and that's because at number 12, I have Black Panther. Yes, I did not put Black Panther on the top 10, and I know that's going to make lots of you mad. Now, I really like this movie. It is a great movie, but there's the problem with Marvel. They have lots of great movies. Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa was amazing, but it was Michael B. Jordan who stole the show as Killmonger. There are a couple things that bring this movie down a couple notches for me, though. His sister Shuri really does bug me through this movie, as I said earlier. The fight scenes at the end look very video gamey, like really bad. And there's also some stuff said in this movie and what the movie's about that I really don't like. But I know why people have it on their top 10 or even their top 5. And guess what? It deserves to be up there on some people's list. Just not mine. I'm just not the biggest fan of the Black Panther character overall. But rest in peace, Chadwick. You really will be missed. Now coming in at number 11 is Spider-Man Homecoming. It's my favorite Spider-Man movie in the MCU so far. They casted great and they have such good chemistry together. How do you not love these characters? This was a really good reboot. I just wish they didn't have so much Iron Man stuff in there, especially the suit. I think they went a little too fast on that. Coming in at number 10 is Thor Ragnarok. Now, this I think they just got right. This movie is so funny and entertaining. They just blew it out of the park. They took a really big chance with it, and I think it worked in this movie. It just didn't work for the next one, and that's why that one's on the bottom. We have the Return of the Hulk and some other side characters that are very entertaining. I understand this movie isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's my cup of tea. So, bravo, Thor Ragnarok is number 10. Coming at number 9 is Captain America First Avenger. This is a great origin story for Steve Rogers and Captain America. You fall in love with his character. You understand after watching this why he is the one in charge of the Avengers. He deserves it. The settings are great. Making it look like it took place in the 40s was done very well. The production value of this movie is done really well. I just wish we had more movies with the Red Skull. Coming in at number 8 is the first Doctor Strange movie. Like I said, I'm quite partial to him. I thought this movie was a really good origin story for a character that is pretty complex to put on the screen. I understand why some people don't have it as high as me, but I really like this one. The special effects used in this movie are very top notch, and quite a bit of scenes I'm like, that looks just like the comic book cover or the pages inside, and that get me really excited for this movie. Coming in at number 7 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, once again, great actors, great chemistry. Hard to follow up the first one, and they did it pretty darn good. Ed and Kurt Russell as Peter's father, and bam, we have an interesting story here. Great action, great special effects, great humor, and it has drama when it needs to have drama. Everything just works perfectly in this movie. Ed and Yondu with a great arrow scene and a very sad scene at the end, and this movie is just really well. Ed and Yondu with a great arrow scene and a pretty sad scene at the end, and you just have a great movie. Coming in at number 6 is the first MCU movie, and that is Iron Man. This movie is more important than maybe any other movie in the MCU. I was not a fan of Iron Man when I was a kid. Hated the comic book, hated the character. In fact, he was not a first-rate character. He was kind of a secondary or even third-rate character in the comic book stores. No one really cared about him until this movie changed everything. Robert Downey Jr. was casted perfectly. I can't picture anyone else playing Iron Man as well as he did. Match up with the perfect director who really shaped what the MCU should be, and this movie is a perfect movie. The music is great, the sets are great, everything about this movie was a masterpiece. Sure, maybe the villain was a little bit weak, but we're talking about a first origin story. We can't have him like conquering some universal monster right off the bat. No, I thought it was done perfectly. And if this movie didn't succeed, we probably wouldn't have the MCU that we have now. Alright, everybody, here we are. Top 5 movies on my list. Remember in the comments, write your top 5 movies down. Coming in at number 5 is Avengers Endgame. This movie is great. Everything comes together, and this is basically the conclusion of the very top of the MCU for me. This is where all the movies before it built up, all the characters, all for the Thanos story to come to its conclusion. I don't think we'll ever have a movie that compiles so much work in and feels like you've really been through it all with these characters. So many characters and stories you got to fiddle around with. Yes, there's time travel that got a little bit like shaky for me, but overall, this is a great movie. It's entertaining, it's emotional, especially with Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow, and just a hard juggling act to get all this stuff right. And they did it very well. Coming at number 4 is the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. This movie took me completely by surprise. There's no reason this movie should be as good as it is, but it was. This movie has a perfect cast that just play off each other so well. This is the type of movie you watch and you just know they had fun on set and you wish you could have been a part of it. This movie is hilarious. It has great action scenes. They move the camera around in a different way than we've ever seen in the MCU before. This movie has interesting characters all over the place, and at the end of it, it's just a really good time. Coming in at number 3 is The Avengers, the first Avenger movie. Now, this movie might not be as good as some of the other ones, but it's so important to the history of the MCU and Hollywood in general. Everything changed after this movie. Since then, Hollywood has been chasing this idea of copying the MCU, and no one has been able to duplicate it like them. Looking at you, DC. This movie was such a huge risk. Having a crossover of so many different characters had never been done before, and it is just done so well. This is the first time we've seen all these characters, they fight a little bit, they go to war together. It's overall just a really good movie. This is like reading a comic book. This is exactly what us comic book fans have wanted ever since we started watching movies and reading comics. I just remember when this movie came out, there was so much excitement in the theaters. Everyone had so much fun, and I don't think I've really had a moment like this since then. I've had some before, but this is the last real big event movie I can remember happening in theaters. Now, Loki wasn't the best villain, but overall, I think it was fine for the movie that we got. Alright, only 2 movies left to go. Can you predict which one I'm picking as number 1? Well, coming at number 2 is Captain America, Winter Soldier. Until recently, I had this movie at the way, way top. But doing this list, I finally changed that, and we'll explain why. This movie is directed so well and has such a good, tight script, and the action scenes really brought Captain America into the new world, and I thought it was done very, very well. We get the dramatic scenes with Bucky coming back as the Winter Soldier, and Steve dealing with that. He's still his friend, and he tries to save him, so you get some very emotional scenes, but it works out pretty well. This movie is actually pretty dark, too, but I think it tells a great story for Captain America, and really takes us to the next level of what we had for the first movie. The only thing is maybe it lacks a little bit of entertainment when compared to number 1, and that's why I dropped it down just 1 notch. So here we are. Number 1, Avengers Infinity War. To me, Endgames really ended the whole arc, but this movie for me was more important. I'm a fan of Empire Strikes Back over the original Star Wars. Still love the original one, but I like it when it was on a down note. There was so much character development. And this is the same thing that we have with this movie. We have Thanos finally coming. All these story arcs from all these movies come together. The build for this huge event movie that we finally got. And yes, it was a 2-parter, so both these movies you can really consider as one, but I just separated for this video. Thanos is finally here. Everything we've built for is going right to this moment. Then we have the drama of seeing half our heroes disappear at the end of this movie. Sure, we know they're not really dead, and at least some of them are coming back, but it was done very well. Bravo, Marvel. I think this is the peak of the MCU. I'm not sure if it's even possible to come close to these 2 movies. It'll definitely be hard to get there, but I hope you do. So there we have it. Thanks for those of you who watched through this whole entire thing, and I really do want to hear your top 5 and bottom 5 movies in the MCU, so please make sure to comment. I really want to read those. This is Mike from Real Lounge Entertainment, signing off.